Welcome to the last video covering the new Asgardians who are joining the battle in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Today I'm specifically talking about Midgard's hero and the fair, dangerous, and durable Lady Sif. My name is Nate, and welcome to the Gamers Guild. Loki and Jane Foster have given Asgard the freedom to stay away from Thor Odinson. And so what do I immediately do? Put Thor Odinson 2.0 on the table, and he's quite a bit of fun. With fours across the board on defense and a 9-8 split stamina, Thor's initial stat block isn't crazy for a 6 threat, but it's also nothing to be disappointed by. As well, a medium move on a 50 millimeter base means he can get around pretty easily. He also hits well, a 6 threat should. His builder is an energy range 3 7 die attack that can push a character of any size in any direction as long as he manages to hit a hit and a wild in the roll. And if it's just a wild, though, you're still okay with that because it triggers Lightning Arc and lets Thor choose an enemy within range 3 of the target equal to the number of wilds in his roll. Each of those chosen enemies then take 1 damage. So sure, it isn't a throw on his builder, but there are some decent odds at control and at being able to spread out a bit of damage. His only other attack is one that well, he really doesn't need any other attacks. A range 3 10 dice just for a low cost of 4 power. It has a guaranteed place within range 1 of the target before damage is dealt, because there will be damage, and a guaranteed size 4 character throw in any direction, medium. Both of these attacks roll plenty of dice and have great effects, and on top of it all, it has attack variety between the energy and physical attack types. The only downside is that his spender has to compete with all of his superpowers for what you're spending his power on. Have at thee lets Thor throw himself medium once per turn for 3 power on a medium base. Oh, and he's size 3, so that's 4 incoming damage from a medium move away. Still feel like you're missing out on throws? Try Power of Thor, as Thor plays quarterback with any size 4 terrain piece within range 2 and throws it long, which is quite far away. I want to hit on the classic things that Thor just kind of comes with before I talk about his reactive power, though. He is an Asgardian, so he'll gain an extra power during the power phase, and he has flight and is immune to shock. All right, back to I Say Thee Nay. It costs 3 power for what is basically a super counterstrike. If Thor is attacked and lives throughout the attack from within range 3, he gets to roll 7 dice, and then for each crit and wild in the result, the attacker suffers 1 damage. So, 7 dice suddenly makes only counting wilds and crits still feel pretty good compared to the 4 dice versions out there. But I still think this can be a trap. I think unless you have a purpose behind using this power, like to stop a character mid-activation, or some situation where it makes sense to try and force that damage out, go for it. But the average damage output of this ability is still a little bit less than 2, which, don't get me wrong, 2 damage for 3 power is a worthwhile investment. But if you can save the power, Thor will be able to use it more effectively during his activations. Now, also, of course, I decided to give this a try against Sandman for kicks and giggles, and I ended up with 4 results, nearly dazing Sandman after he had just summoned one of his constructs. And the fact that that can happen should be a bit of a deterrent for people attacking Thor. He can hit back, and while it will only usually be for 1 or 2 damage, it can spike. So big picture here, Thor is, well, he's a pretty well-rounded 6 threat character. Both of his attacks have displacement. He has a combination of damage and movement with his self throw and spender, and an extra source of damage output with his terrain throw. So he has damage, mobility, and even control all checked off pretty well. Where this Thor suffers is his defensive ability, or maybe inability. Now, this isn't like a glaring flaw or anything of the sort. He just has 3 less stamina than a Hulk and better dice pools. But not having any sort of defensive tech like rerolls certainly means that a dedicated attacker can still deal with our newest hero of Midgard. I say the Nay is a good deterrent, but if a character's job is to take down Thor, kind of like no matter what else is going on, feeding them extra power is going to be dangerous. As far as affiliations go, we know he's in Asgard, and it feels safe to assume he'll be an Avenger since this version of him is, well, the hero of Midgard. I think he will like both of the new Asgard leaderships, as giving him some consistency on attacks or defense is going to be a welcome thing. However, it can get pretty expensive quickly since that's a minimum 11 threat for your team. I do also think he's going to enjoy both Steve's leaderships for different reasons, but he's going to be effective in there either way, whether you're making sure you're hitting your triggers on his builder with Mighty Steve or getting that round one pounce charge effect off of Thor with Discount Steve. Either way, he's happy. As for a nice splash, it's hard to say. Six threat is a lot. Just for example, Hulk is a really good model, and while he is splashed some, he isn't everywhere. Similar thoughts here with Thor. I think he can do really well just about wherever you end up putting him, but with so many options and the value of affiliated characters, it's tough to name any particular one spot. Sif, on the other hand, I do have some ideas for. The Lady Sif has a respectable 4-3-3 line up on defense with a 6-6 split on her stamina. So nothing crazy for her stat block either, but nothing bad either. However, her ability to dance about the battlefield was going to be hard to ignore. Her builder has a range of 2 with 5 dice. On a wild, she can push a size 3 or less character short in any direction, and if she manages a wild and a crit, she also gets to advance short toward the character. So as a general rule, not a bad builder, with a bit of a possibility of mobility and likely some control in there too. Her spender is pretty similar, but just kind of better. It comes in with a range of 3, strength of 7 for 3 power. Nothing here is guaranteed, unfortunately, but if she manages a crit and a hit, she gets to throw the target medium in any direction, assuming they are size 3 or less, and then she can advance short. Not a bad spender for a 4 threat. I kind of wish the ability had been split up like her builder is, where, like, hey, you get the throw on a wild or a crit, and then if you get a hit and a crit, she also gets to advance short. But, well, here we are. Going through the rest of her kit, we have a charge, which is never a bad thing. And for the first time since the original core box, we have a Master Swords, well, woman. This gives her full rerolls on physical attacks or defense rolls within range 2. It's the thing that makes Baron Zemo so effective as a 3 threat, and Sif can manage that on her 7 die spender. All this to say, she is going to hit harder than you might first suspect, or at the very least, more consistently. We then have the typical Asgardian ability, allowing her access to turn one charge, or the power to make sure you have Master Swordswoman online every single go. Then finally, she has an innate damage reduction ability that will reduce all incoming damage by 1 to a minimum of 1, giving her some really nice durability on top of the really nice damage output. So, big picture here, and it feels a bit weird to say this because we have a 4 threat Baron Zemo, but Sif feels like the 4 threat version of Baron Zemo. The extra guaranteed power generation keeps her mobile or makes sure she's always threatening. She has some added control and then also some added durability. Sure, we don't have the reroll bubble, but honestly, I think that might be pushing Sif a bit too much. Sif is going to be a really nice brawler at 4 threat, which actually does fill a really nice niche in Asgard that doesn't have a 4 threat brawler. Hela is kind of that, but not really in the same way where she's this kind of durable and consistent on her attacks. Also, and I know you may get tired of hearing this with all Asgardians who have 4 physical defense, she's likely, though, right now the best target for Doom Prophecy. Boosting her builder to 9 dice full rerolls is going to tear into pretty much any character in the game. As far as affiliations go, I think Sif will enjoy teaming up with Jane the most as far as in affiliation. As a splash, though, Mighty Cap helping shore up her attack triggers will be really nice, since that's the only inconsistent thing on her card. Also, though, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Kingpin probably hires her as a durable mobile control piece at 4 threat. But these are my first impressions with the Hero of Asgard and the Lady Sif. If you want to see the rest of the characters from this box, check out the other two videos that dropped last week going over the two new leaders for the affiliation. Now it's time to reveal the giveaway, though, for June. Congratulations to Hiron Zero. And yes, Shang-Chi is going to be really cool with OG Cap. The ability to round one charge, get a power to do a thousand palm thing is going to be a really nice combo to get off round one to just go off the starting line. It's going to be good. If you want to enter into July's giveaway to get your own MCP standard expansion box, all you need to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel and leave a comment on a video the same month that is released, like today's video. And if your name is pulled from the proverbial hat, Tritex will supply you with that one standard MCP expansion of your choice. And speaking of Tritex, I want to give a shout out to the guild sponsors who help make this content possible. If you are in the UK, you can shop at Tritex Games using the code TritexGGCP5 at checkout for an extra 5% off. And if you use this code on a pre-order item like the new Asgardians, it will net you a grand total of 25% off. If you're in the US, you can shop at GameChefs.org, where you can use the code GamersGuild for 15% off of your order. As always, if you have an LGS you are playing at, we encourage you to support where you go and play. I also want to take a moment and say if you're enjoying the content here on YouTube or one of the different podcasts and want to support our efforts directly, you can support us on Patreon. As well, if you want to join in silly discussions, ask questions to be answered from rules to general advice, you can join the Guildhall Discord page. That also has a link down in the description. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, keep on gaming.